In a world where power is measured not just by military might but by technological dominance, the West's desperate attempts to cripple China's ascent have become a glaring testament to its own insecurity. The U.S. and E.U., clinging to the vestiges of their waning supremacy, have launched a barrage of sanctions against Huawei, hoping to stifle the rise of a competitor that threatens their long-held hegemony. Yet, in their zeal to maintain control, they have underestimated the resilience and ingenuity of a nation that refuses to be shackled by outdated notions of global order. The irony is palpable. The more the West tightens its grip, the more China slips through its fingers, emerging stronger and more determined than ever. The launch of Huawei's Ascend 910 chip is not just a technological milestone, it is a defiant statement of intent, a challenge to the very foundation of Western dominance. As the U.S. and E.U. scramble to contain the unstoppable tide of Chinese innovation, one has to wonder, are they fighting a losing battle? Stay with us till the end as we delve into this provocative and contentious saga, where the lines between global leadership and desperation blur with every passing day. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. In the shadow of escalating technological rivalry, Huawei stands resilient, poised to defy U.S. and E.U. sanctions with the release of a new AI chip. This move is not just a testament to Huawei's tenacity, but also a stark reminder of the geopolitical tensions driving the global tech landscape. The chip, known as Ascend 910C, is being hailed as a direct competitor to Nvidia's 100, a product that has long dominated the AI processing market as Chinese firms like ByteDance, Baidu, and China Mobile begin testing this innovative piece of technology. The world watches closely, questioning the true effectiveness and fairness of the sanctions imposed by Western powers. The sanctions, originally aimed at stifling Huawei's technological advancements, have instead become a catalyst for innovation within China's tech sector. The more the U.S. and E.U. attempt to constrain China's technological growth, the more determined and capable Chinese companies become in overcoming these barriers. The Ascend 910C chip is more than just a technical achievement. It symbolizes China's broader strategy to achieve self-reliance in critical technologies, a strategy that has been accelerated rather than hindered by foreign restrictions. Huawei's announcement comes at a time when the global semiconductor industry is deeply intertwined with international politics. The U.S. government, under the guise of national security, has systematically targeted Chinese tech giants, imposing severe restrictions on companies like Huawei. These actions, however, have sparked a significant debate about the true motivations behind such measures. Is it genuinely about safeguarding security, or is it a strategic move to maintain technological supremacy by crippling potential competitors? As the debate rages on, it becomes increasingly clear that the sanctions are having unintended consequences. The restrictions imposed by the U.S. in 2022, which specifically targeted Nvidia's AI chips, were supposed to cripple China's access to advanced processing capabilities. Yet, here we are, less than 2 years later, with Huawei not only surviving, but also preparing to launch a chip that could rival Nvidia's most advanced offerings. This development raises critical questions about the efficacy of the sanctions and whether they are achieving their intended goals or simply pushing China to innovate faster and more aggressively. The implications of Huawei's latest move extend far beyond the realm of technology. It represents a broader shift in the global power dynamic, where economic and technological influence is increasingly wielded as a tool of geopolitical strategy. The U.S. and E.U., in their efforts to maintain dominance, have inadvertently spurred a technological renaissance in China, one that could reshape the global tech industry in ways that are yet to be fully understood. The Ascend 910C chip's potential impact on the market is already being felt. Companies that were once reliant on Western technology are now exploring alternatives, driven by both necessity and opportunity. The early interest from major Chinese firms, like ByteDance and Baidu, indicates that there is a growing appetite for domestically produced technology, which could reduce China's dependency on foreign suppliers. This shift is particularly significant in the context of ongoing supply chain disruptions and the increasing politicization of technology transfers. Huawei's ability to produce a chip that rivals Nvidia's best is not just a technical feat. It is a statement of intent. It signals to the world that China is no longer content to be a follower in the tech race. Instead, it is positioning itself as a leader, ready to challenge the dominance of established players in the global market. This development also puts pressure on companies like Nvidia, which must now contend with a formidable competitor that is supported by a government committed to achieving technological independence. However, Huawei's journey has not been without its challenges. The company has faced significant hurdles, from production delays to the constant threat of further U.S. sanctions. These obstacles, while daunting, have not deterred Huawei. Instead, they have strengthened the company's resolve to push forward, developing new technologies that can withstand external pressures. This resilience is indicative of a broader trend within China's tech industry, where companies are increasingly focusing on innovation as a means of survival and growth. The resurgence of Huawei's consumer business, particularly in the smartphone sector, further complicates the picture. Despite U.S. efforts to isolate the company, Huawei has managed to regain a significant foothold in the market. The success of the Mate 60 Pro smartphone, equipped with a chip that appears to support 5G capabilities, despite the sanctions, is a clear indication that Huawei is far from being defeated. Instead, the company is finding new ways to circumvent the restrictions, leveraging its domestic resources to continue competing on the global stage. This ongoing battle between Huawei and the U.S. is emblematic of a larger struggle between China and the West. It is a struggle that is being fought not just with economic sanctions and trade restrictions, but also with technological innovation and strategic investments. China's decision to invest $344 billion, $47.5 billion into a new chip fund is a clear signal that it is doubling down on its efforts to build a self-sufficient tech industry. This move is likely to accelerate the development of new technologies, further diminishing the impact of Western sanctions. The question that now looms large is whether the U.S. and E.U. will recognize the limits of their current strategy. The sanctions, while impactful in the short term, have not crippled China's tech industry as intended. Instead, they have galvanized it, driving companies like Huawei to innovate more rapidly and aggressively. This unintended consequence should prompt a reevaluation of the West's approach to managing its relationship with China, particularly in the context of technological competition. Just a quick reminder to hit the like button below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots. So your like does help out this video massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. In the face of these developments, it is crucial to consider the broader implications for the global tech industry. If Huawei succeeds in establishing itself as a leader in AI chip development, it could set the stage for a major realignment of the industry. Companies around the world may begin to look towards China for their technological needs, particularly if Western suppliers are perceived as unreliable or subject to political whims. This shift could have far-reaching consequences, not just for the tech industry, but for the global economy as a whole. The tension between the U.S. and China is not just a bilateral issue. It has significant implications for the rest of the world. Countries that have traditionally relied on U.S. technology may find themselves caught in the crossfire, forced to choose between maintaining their existing relationships or exploring new partnerships with Chinese companies. This dilemma is particularly acute for countries in the E.U., which have strong economic ties to both the U.S. and China. The decisions they make in the coming years could shape the future of the global tech landscape. As Huawei prepares to launch the Ascend 910C, the world is watching closely. The chip represents more than just a technological advancement. It is a symbol of China's determination to assert its place in the global tech hierarchy. The coming months will be critical in determining whether Huawei's gamble pays off and whether the U.S. and E.U. are forced to rethink their approach to managing China's rise. The unfolding situation with Huawei is a microcosm of the broader geopolitical and economic tensions that have been building between China and the West. The U.S. and E.U. have long positioned themselves as the gatekeepers of advanced technology, using their dominance in key industries to exert influence on the global stage. However, China's rapid rise in the tech sector is challenging this status quo, forcing Western powers to confront the reality that their grip on technological leadership may be slipping. This shift has been met with a mix of alarm and hostility in the West, where policymakers have struggled to craft an effective response. The sanctions against Huawei are a prime example of this struggle. Initially intended to cripple the company and send a clear message to other Chinese firms, these measures have instead served as a rallying cry for China's tech industry. Far from being cowed, Chinese companies have doubled down on their efforts to innovate and reduce their reliance on foreign technology. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video and comment. The emergence of Huawei as a serious contender in the AI chip market is a significant development, but it is also just the tip of the iceberg. The broader trend is one of increasing self-sufficiency in China's tech sector. This trend is likely to have profound implications for the global economy as countries and companies around the world are forced to adapt to a new reality in which China is not just a consumer of advanced technology, but also a producer. As Huawei continues to defy expectations, the response from the U.S. and E.U. will be critical in shaping the future of the global tech landscape. Thus far, the Western approach has been largely reactive, relying on sanctions and other punitive measures to try to contain China's rise. However, the effectiveness of these measures is increasingly being called into question. As Huawei's success demonstrates, China's tech industry is more resilient and innovative than many in the West had anticipated. The failure of the sanctions to achieve their intended goals should prompt a re-evaluation of the West's strategy. Rather than trying to stifle China's technological development, it may be more productive to focus on fostering innovation and competition within their own borders. The rise of Huawei and other Chinese tech firms is a reminder that the global tech industry is no longer the exclusive domain of the West. In this new environment, success will depend not just on the ability to innovate, but also on the willingness to engage with a rapidly changing world. The implications of this shift are not limited to the tech industry. The tensions between the U.S. and China are part of a broader geopolitical struggle that is reshaping the global order. As China continues to assert its influence on the world stage, the U.S. and its allies will need to adapt to a new reality in which their dominance is no longer assured. This will require a fundamental rethink of how the West approaches its relationship with China, particularly in areas like technology, trade, and security. As the global balance of power continues to shift, the actions of companies like Huawei will play an increasingly important role in shaping the future. The Ascend 910 chip is more than just a technological achievement. It is a symbol of the broader changes that are taking place in the world today. The coming years will be crucial in determining whether the U.S. and E.U. can adapt to these changes or whether they will find themselves increasingly marginalized in a world that is no longer defined by their rules. The growing divide between the U.S. and China is not just a matter of economic and technological competition. It is also a clash of ideologies. The U.S. has long championed a model of free market capitalism, where the government's role is limited and innovation is driven by the private sector. China, on the other hand, has embraced a model of state-led capitalism, where the government plays a central role in directing economic and technological development. This difference in approach is becoming increasingly apparent as the two countries vie for supremacy in the global tech industry. Huawei's success is a testament to the effectiveness of China's model. The company's ability to innovate and compete on the global stage is in large part due to the support it receives from the Chinese government. This support has allowed Huawei to weather the storm of U.S. sanctions and continue developing cutting-edge technologies. In contrast, Western tech companies often find themselves hampered by regulatory hurdles and a lack of government support, which can stifle innovation and limit their ability to compete internationally. The question now is whether the U.S. and E.U. can adapt to this new reality. If they continue to rely on sanctions and other punitive measures, they may find themselves increasingly isolated in a world where China is setting the pace for technological innovation. On the other hand, if they can find a way to foster innovation and competition within their own borders, they may be able to maintain their leadership in the global tech industry. This will require a shift in mindset, as well as a recognition that the old ways of doing things may no longer be effective in a rapidly changing world. The stakes could not be higher. The future of the global tech industry, and by extension, the global economy, will be shaped by the decisions that are made in the coming years. Huawei's Ascend 910 chip is a clear indication that China is not just a follower in the tech race, but a serious contender for leadership. The U.S. and E.U. decide how they will respond to this challenge, whether by continuing to try to contain China's rise or by finding ways to coexist and compete in a world where China is a leading player. This is not just a question of economic competition. It is also a question of global governance. The U.S. and its allies have long been the architects of the international order, setting the rules and norms that govern everything from trade to technology. However, as China's influence grows, These rules are being challenged. The global tech industry is just one example of this broader trend, as Huawei and other Chinese companies continue to push the boundaries of what is technologically possible. They are also pushing the boundaries of the global order itself. The response from the West will determine whether this order can adapt to a changing world or whether it will be swept aside by the forces of innovation and competition. The stakes are high, but the opportunities are even higher if the U.S. and E.U. can rise to the challenge. They may find themselves not just surviving, but thriving in a world where China is a leading player. However, if they fail to adapt, they may find themselves increasingly irrelevant in a world that is no longer defined by their rules. The future of the global tech industry is at a crossroads, and the decisions that are made in the coming years will shape the direction it takes. Huawei's Ascend 910 chip is a clear indication that China is not just a follower in the tech race, but a serious contender for leadership. The U.S. and E.U. must decide how they will respond to this challenge, whether by continuing to try to contain China's rise or by finding ways to coexist and compete in a world where China is a leading player. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.